Imagine a world where you can easily get a ride with just a tap on your phone. That's what Uber did when it started in 2010. Instead of waiting for a taxi on the street, you could use a cool app to get a ride. It was like magic. As more and more people used Uber, it ran into some major problems, not least of which was how much it cost. Sometimes, taking an Uber was more expensive than a regular taxi, and there were lots of other companies trying to be the best at giving rides too. It was like a big unregulated competition. Even though lots of people liked using Uber, it wasn't always profitable. In fact, in 2022, it lost a huge amount of money, over $9 billion. That's a lot more than the smaller loss it had in 2021. All of these financial difficulties and uncertainties indicate just how problematic it was for Uber to be a profitable ride-hailing company, making its path to profitability a true tale of grit, determination, business savvy, and what some might term a fair bit of luck. Welcome to another episode of Profit Chronicles. Today, we delve into the story of the Uber controversy, redefining profitability in the transportation industry. In early 2010, getting a taxi in California was hard. It was like trying to catch a rare shooting star. It hardly ever happened. You'd stand on the street, hoping a taxi would show up, or you might wait a long time for a ride. But then, in May 2010, a company called Uber was born, and it changed everything. Instead of relying on traditional taxis, Uber made it super easy to get a ride using a smartphone app. This all began when two people, Garrett Camp and Travis Kalanick, teamed up. Garrett Camp, one of Uber's co-founders, was born in Canada in 1978. Before Uber, he was already successful in the tech world. He co-founded StumbleUpon, a popular web discovery platform which was later bought by eBay. But what inspired him was a snowy night in Paris when he couldn't find a cab. That frustration led him to create a better way for people to get rides, which became Uber. Uber, initially named UberCab, started in 2009. Travis Kalanick became the CEO in 2010 and led Uber until 2017. During Travis's time as CEO, Uber became the most popular way for people to get rides, not just in the United States, but all over the world. It grew fast, reaching Europe, Asia, and South America. But Uber didn't stop at giving people rides. They also started services like Uber Eats for delivering food and Uber Freight for shipping products. Now let's look at how Uber expanded globally. In 2010, it started in San Francisco with just a few drivers. By 2014, it was in over 100 cities across 45 countries, showing how big it had become. In 2017, Uber faced a big problem when its CEO, Travis Kalanick, resigned because of controversies. There were also serious allegations of bad behavior by some Uber drivers, like sexual harassment and bullying. These issues led to Travis Kalanick stepping down as CEO in 2017. Despite these issues, Uber kept growing. By 2019, it had more than 110 million users all over the world. As Uber grew, it faced challenges. It sometimes offered services in new places without getting permission from local authorities, which caused problems. After Travis left, Dara Khosrowshahi became the new CEO. Since 2017, Uber has made changes. They sold part of their business in India and left some European countries. They also sold their self-driving car project to a company called Aurora in exchange for partial ownership in Aurora. Uber worked hard to improve its reputation, but many countries are still deciding whether Uber drivers should be considered regular employees with all the rights and benefits regular employees should receive. The United Kingdom was one of the first countries to say that they should. Then, in 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic hit Uber's ride business hard. But by late 2020, Uber started to recover. During this tough time, Uber Eats became a crucial part of the business, making a lot of money. In 2022, getting people rides became more important for making money than delivering food. Now, Uber is worth around $91.84 billion, making it one of the most valuable tech companies globally. Uber's journey from the early days to becoming a global transportation giant has completely changed how we think about getting from one place to another. It all started with a brilliant idea. Instead of owning a massive fleet of taxis, Uber convinced everyday folks like you and me to become drivers. This is where the gig economy, a bit like a job buffet, played a pivotal role. Instead of being tied to a single 9-to-5 job, people could now pick up gigs whenever they pleased. It was almost like having several part-time sources of income available instead of just one. For those with cars, Uber presented an opportunity to transform their vehicles into money-making machines. Imagine, your car not only covers its expenses, but leaves you with a little extra for those indulgent treats. When Uber first started, it promised two really exciting things. Everyday drivers could make a lot of money helping others, and that it was going to change how we get from one place to another by utilizing technology. For drivers, this seemed like a sweet deal. It meant they could earn extra money whenever they wanted. Imagine working a bit after your usual job or on weekends to save up for a special vacation. For passengers, Uber meant cheaper rides and more convenience. You didn't have to spend a lot of money, and you didn't have to wait a long time for taxis like everybody had been used to in the past. Uber also promised to make cities more efficient by reducing traffic jams and pollution. They even talked about cars that could drive themselves, like something from a sci-fi movie. However, Uber's journey wasn't as smooth a ride as they may have hoped for. As the company expanded, it faced numerous challenges. Traditional taxi drivers weren't happy about the competition and often protested against Uber. They felt like someone had taken a big bite out of their pie. Some cities said, "Hold on, you need special permits to operate here." Uber had to navigate a maze of rules and regulations, city by city. It was like trying to solve a never-ending puzzle with ever-changing pieces. Uber faced regulatory hurdles in many places. For instance, in Germany, courts repeatedly found Uber in violation of the Passenger Transportation Act and the Unfair Competition Act, leading to a ban on its services. In Spain, the regional government of Catalonia sanctioned Uber for unauthorized transportation services, while courts in Italy ordered the suspension of certain Uber services. These legal disputes cost Uber significant amounts of time and money, with legal fees and fines totaling in the millions. Meanwhile, allegations of harassment and bullying within Uber's corporate culture prompted additional investigations and eventual legal actions. The negative publicity around these allegations not only damaged Uber's reputation, but also led to settlements and compensation payouts, impacting its financial health. While Uber's rapid expansion and innovative services drove revenue growth, these controversies had financial consequences. Legal battles incurred substantial legal costs and potential fines. Moreover, the negative image tarnished user trust and might have discouraged some passengers and drivers from using the platform. As of 2021, Uber's global presence was extensive, with operations in over 10,000 cities across 69 countries. Despite the controversies, Uber continued to attract a vast user base, indicating the resilience of its business model. In 2021, Uber's valuation reached around $95 billion, highlighting its status as one of the most valuable tech companies globally. This valuation reflects investors' confidence in Uber's long-term potential, despite the hurdles it faced. To counter challenges, Uber diversified its services. While ride-hailing faced setbacks during the COVID-19 pandemic, Uber Eats experienced a surge in demand, demonstrating the flexibility of Uber's business model. Uber boasted more than 110 million users worldwide by 2019, indicating that controversies hadn't driven away the majority of its customers. This information provides a glimpse into the tangible impact of the controversies on Uber's operations, reputation, and financial health. While they navigated a stormy sea of challenges, Uber's ability to adapt and innovate allowed it to continue thriving in the competitive tech landscape. Uber's financial journey has been characterized by remarkable growth as well as substantial losses. The company was initiated as a disruptor in the traditional taxi industry, rapidly growing into a global phenomenon. By 2021, its valuation had reached approximately $95 billion. However, this valuation also reflected the company's turbulent financial history. Despite the controversies and regulatory disputes, Uber's innovative business model allowed it to amass substantial revenue. For instance, in 2019, Uber reported impressive annual revenue of $14.1 billion. This figure highlighted the sheer scale of its operations and the demand for its services worldwide. However, behind the scenes, the company had been grappling with mounting losses. Its 2018 initial public offering, IPO, revealed losses of over $3 billion the previous year, underlining the substantial investments required to expand Uber's reach. These figures showed that Uber's pursuit of market share had come at a considerable cost. The COVID-19 pandemic had a profound effect on Uber's primary ride-hailing business. Lockdowns, travel restrictions, and public health concerns led to a significant drop in demand for rides. As a result, Uber's ride bookings and revenue plummeted. In the second quarter of 2020, amid the height of the pandemic, Uber reported a staggering loss of $1.8 billion. To counteract the decline in ride-hailing, Uber turned to its food delivery service, Uber Eats. The pandemic accelerated the adoption of food delivery services as more people ordered meals for home delivery. During the pandemic, Uber Eats saw a massive surge in demand, with the service's gross bookings amounting to $12.9 billion in the second quarter of 2020. This surge in food delivery helped offset some of the losses incurred by the ride-hailing business. Uber's response to the pandemic highlighted its ability to adapt and innovate in the face of adversity. Recognizing the changing landscape, the company leveraged its existing infrastructure and expanded its Uber Eats services. As part of its response, Uber announced its acquisition of Postmates, a food delivery competitor, for $2.65 billion, further strengthening its position in the food delivery market. Uber also introduced safety measures for both drivers and passengers. These measures included mask mandates, enhanced cleaning protocols, and the implementation of no mask, no ride policies to ensure safer rides during the pandemic. While the ride-hailing business struggled during the height of the pandemic, Uber Eats became a vital part of the business, contributing significantly to revenue. In the third quarter of 2020, Uber Eats reported gross bookings of $8.6 billion, marking a substantial increase compared to the same period in the previous year. In short, Uber's financial performance has been marked by periods of rapid growth and substantial losses. The rise of the gig economy, epitomized by platforms like Uber, has raised critical questions about worker rights and labor conditions. Unlike traditional employment models, where workers often enjoy job security, benefits, and protections, gig workers are classified as independent contractors, which can leave them without many of these safeguards. Uber drivers have been at the forefront of efforts to secure better treatment and rights within the gig economy. Many drivers argue that they should be recognized as employees rather than independent contractors. This reclassification could entitle them to benefits such as minimum wage, overtime pay, and access to health care. Uber's controversies, including allegations of unfair treatment, low pay, and inadequate safety measures, have played a significant role in shaping discussions about gig worker rights. These controversies have highlighted the challenges faced by gig workers and fueled debates about the need for greater protections in the gig economy. To sum up, the gig economy's impact on worker rights is a critical issue, with Uber drivers and their experiences serving as a focal point for discussions about labor conditions and the need for improved worker protections in the gig economy. In the ever-evolving landscape of the ride-hailing industry, significant changes are happening. Traditional players like Uber are facing challenges from emerging alternative models, particularly platform cooperatives. These cooperatives are changing the game by putting power back into the hands of drivers. Platform cooperatives are a relatively recent development, but they're making waves. Unlike Uber and its peers, where control is centralized within a corporation, these cooperatives are fundamentally different. They're owned and operated by the very drivers who provide the service. This shift in ownership structure empowers drivers to have a say in the platform's operation and a more significant share of the profits they help generate. In these cooperatives, drivers earn more, benefit from the platform's success, and enjoy improved working conditions. As the gig economy continues to evolve, the future of Uber and similar companies is uncertain. The rise of platform cooperatives poses both opportunities and threats to these industry giants. Uber is at a crossroads, where it must adapt to changing dynamics or risk being left behind. The question is whether Uber can embrace elements of the cooperative model to remain relevant. Beyond financial gains, the shift towards cooperatives in the transportation industry has broader implications. It challenges the conventional notion of profitability by prioritizing fairness and inclusivity. These new models aim to create a more economically sustainable and equitable ecosystem for all participants in the gig economy. So as we navigate these changes, we witness the transformation of the ride-hailing industry. It's a story of challenge and adaptation, where traditional players like Uber are being compelled to rethink their strategies in the face of a cooperative revolution. Uber's story has been full of ups and downs. It changed the way we get around cities, but had some money troubles, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. People who drive for Uber want better rights and protection, like regular employees. Some new ideas, like driver-owned cooperatives, are changing how things work and focusing on being fair. Now, Uber has to decide if it can use these new ideas to keep up with changes. The future of making money in transportation is changing fast. Can Uber adapt to the changing gig economy landscape and redefine profitability in the transportation industry? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more stories like this one. Thank you for watching Profit Chronicles today, and see you next time.